Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am here today with Dr. East Phillips, who is committed to helping others actualize their greatest potential and well-being. She's a licensed acupuncturist and a professor of Chinese medicine, radiant aging, and advanced nutrition at Pacific College of Health Sciences. She also is the author of More Than a Treatment. As someone who specializes in motivation, inspiration, and encouragement, and I think we all can use a little bit more of those, can't we? Dr. East helps patients, students, and practitioners to make more money doing what they love while working less. Dr. East, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. I'm excited.
I am too. I love your energy. So you've been educating on peak performance for a while now, as well as flow states and anti-aging. And so what are some ways that people can move towards a more optimal life in the way of establishing healthy habits? And what kinds of healthy habits can they start to take on?
Oh my gosh, I love that you asked that question. What a great question. And it's one that I was going to present at the P3 Summit is where you found me, which was all about peak performance, optimal wellness, optimal well-being, biohacking. So I get asked this question a lot, and it's one of my favorite questions because my commitment really is to everybody living their best life. I mean, just put simply, right? So one way is your habits. You know, your habits show up on your face. Your life is a reflection of the habits that you have engaged in the last 3-4 years. And so the beautiful thing about habits is they're a choice. You make a choice. You know, it's like I woke up yesterday and I didn't feel like running or meditating. So I ran and I meditated. You know, that's the habit. It's like the cold plunge. There's two benefits to a cold plunge. One, you start to control your mind because nobody wants to get into a cold plunge. Nobody does. But when your mind is telling you, don't go into the cold plunge, and then you say, no, I'm in charge of you, and you go into the cold plunge, you start to train your mind that you're in charge. You, who is the you is the ultimate you that has been, ever will be the soul of you, which is not your mind. You know, because we can observe our mind, we can observe our thoughts, we can observe our emotions. So what is it that's observing those things? It's the us, the eternal us that is in control. So when you control your mind, you control so many things, and then you start to control your habits. And then when you purposefully, with intention, set and engage in certain habits, you will set yourself on a trajectory for your best life. So some of the habits are things that I engage in almost every day. I say almost because there's exceptions, right? I was on vacation last week in Maui, and maybe I didn't engage in all of the habits because there's that whole idea of balance. But like, peak performance comes from flow states, or putting yourself into flow states, right? So what things put you into a flow state? For most people, it's exercise. Exercise across the board is something that will slow down the aging process, helps us metabolize sugars in our body. So it's really helpful for anybody that has any metabolic issues going on. And exercise helps to lengthen our telomeres, which are those little caps on the end of our genes that shorten over time, and we want to keep them as long as possible. And so exercise also helps the BDNF. I'm giving you a lot of things because these are things that you can take you down different rabbit holes to explore and investigate in your own self-discovery for peak performance. I like to call it radiant aging. We'll get to that, but just slowing down the aging process. And let's face it, we're never going to be able to slow down. We can slow down the aging process, but the aging process is coming because we're in a carnal body. It's part of the law of the universe at this time, in this dimension. However, we can age well. We can age like Jack LaLanne. I remember seeing a video of him at 98, juicing and buffed out and still working out. I mean, we can live all of our days optimally. So what things put you in a peak state? Rest, so proper sleep does that. The leader right now, one of the world leaders in radiant aging, longevity, he'll call it anti-aging, Dr. Sinclair. He says, simply eat less often. For many of us, that is fasting or intermittent fasting. So for example, I intermittent fast. And which that means is I eat all my meals within 8 hours. So the other 16 hours, my body is able to do what my body was designed to do, which is detoxify, which is to reorganize things, which is to heal, to rejuvenate. When I eat, my body stops all of those things to digest. So when I give my body 16 full hours to do what it's designed to do, then it puts me, that's one peak flow state activity. Then I like to prime my day. So in order to have the best day possible or the best life, you got to prime it. So every morning I do the intermittent fasting. I do some gratitude right when I wake up in that kind of sleepy state. I have the habit of thinking of at least 3 things for which I'm extremely grateful for. And so that's start. So those are 2 peak state or flow state activities. And now I'm stacking them, right? So I have gratitude, then I'm intermittent fasting, then I wake up, come downstairs, and I indulge in a nootropic. Coffee is a nootropic, right? It fuels the brain, it stimulates the brain, it gets neural connections firing up, and I take a nootropic. So I literally take a supplement that is a nootropic that is fuel for my brain. And then I will meditate. So you notice those 3 habits are a perfect primer, is intermittent fasting, gratitude, nootropics, but then I will usually exercise in addition, which I did this morning, on an empty stomach, before or after my meditation. But those are like my 3 or 4 main primers for almost every day. I feel like if I do those 4, those are the things for me that put me into a prime state, and that's what primes for me. Now it's going to be different for everybody. Some people it might be walking or being in nature, but you identify what puts you into a peak state or the flow state, and then I highly recommend you start stacking some of those. Every once in a while, I will wake up on a fasted intermittent fasting. I'll take my nootropic. I'll exercise really hard. I'll meditate, and when I take my shower, I'll end it with 30 or 60 seconds of cold water. The other benefit of cold water is it increases brown fat in your body, and brown fat metabolizes and burns faster. And so if you want to start to lose weight, that cold plunge, taking it back to what I started all this with, is dual beneficial, meaning it helps train your brain, or your mind, that you're in control. And then number 2, exposure to cold increases brown fat in our body. I am purposefully giving you all these juicy nuggets to go and explore these different directions. And this all is under the umbrella of optimal well-being and what I like to call radiant aging.
Oh, wow.
Hope that's helpful.
So good. You know, I started taking cold showers this year, and it's 50% mindset of I can do this hard thing. And once you're in, it actually feels really good, and you feel this internal warmth afterwards. So that's a great suggestion. I did not know that about the brown fat. So no, these are great. And, you know, we're helping people to do this stacking, find the things that work for you that are going to get you to peak performance. So I love that. In the world of anti-aging, and that's a word we hear a lot lately, there's so many options. What are some of your favorites?
Oh boy. My favorites are the free things and maybe the not so free. So I'm a huge biohacker. If you've already recognized, I have the Aura ring. So if you want to really start to objectively measure your peak performance, an Aura ring or a data tracking device is a wearable is really helpful, but those cost money. So here are some things that don't cost any money. Intermittent fasting, and that's not for everybody. I want to let you know a lot of women have issues with intermittent fasting, and it's nothing to do with them. There's nobody wrong. It's not for everybody, but I believe everybody can eat less often. You know, in the US especially, our society here eats a lot of meat, a lot of processed foods. When I work with people on nutrition, the first thing I say is when you go to the grocery store, there's no reason to go into the middle aisles unless you're buying like razors and toothpaste. Stay on the outsides, right? Everything in the middle is very processed, you know? So, I love free things. So one thing is eat less often. That's going to save you money. Okay. When you do eat things, make sure it's as close to living as possible. You know, like they say, farm to table, like you take it out of the garden and you eat it. So that's one thing. Exercise. Exercise doesn't have to cost you money either. You could just do, I know my father loves to just do, he does walks and then he does sit-ups and push-ups in his house. My dad's 80 years old, he's very, very healthy. One of the things that I'm sharing with your summit, and it's something I'd love to share, is, and this is the little download that is shared, it's called the 5 Tibetans. Tibetan monks have been doing these 5 postures, these 5 exercises for centuries to help with their own longevity, right? And so these 5 exercises, the description and the instructions are on the little handout I'm giving, but it's 5 very simple. Everybody could do them. I have taught the 5 Tibetans to anybody from my 4-year-old to my 80-year-old father. I have taught it on many of my lectures. The last time I taught the 5 Tibetans, I was wearing very tight Spanx and a really fancy top, and I was still able to perform the 5 Tibetans on stage to demonstrate how easy these are. And what I love about the 5 Tibetans is it's easy, you can do them. And I encourage everybody, just try it for a few days and see how you feel. So it's 5 postures. You do them anywhere from 3, you do each of the exercises anywhere from 3 to 21 times and work your way up to it. Again, it's all on here, but that's another thing. It doesn't cost you any money. And now it's free. You have that. So I love free things. Here is one of the most powerful radiant aging, optimal aging tools. Let it go. So the Bible, the Course in Miracles, they all guide you towards forgiveness. The more we forgive, the more we let go of things. And I'm telling you, anger, frustration, resentment, hatred, jealousy, those negative and lower vibrational frequencies will age you just as fast as stress, smoking, drinking. In fact, we've seen so many centurions. In fact, the top 9 things that centurions, these are people that live well into their hundreds. A lot of them drink alcohol. A lot of them still smoke cigarettes. So it's not always those toxic things. It's really a mindset. So I encourage, and this doesn't cost you any money, to learn how to forgive. Even if it's just stepping like, oh, East, I can't forgive this person or this situation. I understand. Can you step an inch in the directions towards forgiving? That's it. One day at a time, right? The path of 1,000 or 10,000 miles begins with 1 step. So just every day, if there is something in your life that you're still really angry about, resentful for, just ask yourself, okay, can please God, universe, higher beings, spirits, whatever you believe in, show me the gift in that. Please show me the gift in that situation, that person being in my life. What's the gift? What is there a gift for that? And if you can start to tether more onto the gift or the positive things in that versus the negative things, it starts to shift it. You start to release it. And so that doesn't cost you any money either. The people that I've worked with that have let go and truly learn how to forgive things. I lead a course called the Grief Recovery Method. It's a 7-week program and it's very profound. And we can grieve all sorts of things, not just death. It's like we grieve when something isn't better, more, or different than we had hoped, right? But when I get people through that process, you know, they look younger. And Lester Levinston is another person to check out. He created a program called the Sedona Method. He was literally about to die. And he was given about 3 to 6 weeks. And then he was told, get your affairs in order. He was living in New York City at the time. And he went to his very fancy Upper East Manhattan apartment. He said, nope, I got to figure something out. And he recognized how angry and resentful and hate, he's so full of hate for so many things that he said, I'm going to start to work on this. I don't want to die with all of this negativity inside me. So he started to release all of that. He went on to live over 30 years and teach others how to let go and how to forgive. And if he can bring himself from the brink of death with forgiveness, imagine what it'll do to your body in terms of slowing the aging process down. Right? So those are like really inexpensive, free things that we can do. Walk on the earth. There's a whole movement called grounding. Check it out. The grounding movement is powerful. Literally, take your shoes off and go walk on some real grass. Walk on the beach. Get the negative ions in your body swirling around. You know, again, these are habits. You have to choose to do these. I live minutes from the ocean, and it's a tendency to take it for granted, like it's always there. So I have to force myself to set appointments with different friends and colleagues and say, let's walk on the beach, because I know myself, I'll get caught up in work and I'll put it off. But if I have an obligation to you or an accountability partner, we'll meet and we'll walk on the beach, because I know how powerful it is for me. I also walk on grass. I make a conscious effort to do that at least once a day. Even if it's just when I pick up my kids, take my shoes off, and my son and I walk on the grass at his school. So those are free things. Now, not so free things. The Oura Ring, I love red light therapy. I love photo biomodulation. I really do. I believe in it. Infrared. I have an infrared mat. I lay on that often. And then I have a red light. I sat and meditated under my red light today to help boost my hair, grow that back, stimulate the hair growth. So notice all those, look how I stacked my flow state activities today. Intermittent fasting. I got great sleep last night. I know, because I went to bed at 8:30. That's another conscious choice. Then I got up and I didn't eat or anything like that. I exercised right away. Then I meditated under the red light. I took a shower and I took my nootropic. So I feel like I'm at one of my, best states to be here and share with you. And I do that every day, especially if I'm doing a podcast, especially if I'm doing a class, especially if I'm meeting with clients. I prime myself to be the best version of myself, because I don't want to give anything less in the world. And I hope that that's infectious to other people, meaning like, gosh, I want to do that too. I want to be the best version of myself out there, because when you are the best version of yourself externally, guess what? You get to enjoy the feeling of being the best version of yourself, right? Close your eyes and think back to a time when you were the best version of yourself. How good did that feel? What if you could feel that every day? Well, you can't, but you have to do it.
Oh, I love
a lot of stuff.
I love it. Everything you're saying. Can we take just 60 seconds and let people just make this little interactive visualize their best self?
Yes, I love that.
Let's do it. Okay. So if everyone just closes your eyes and yeah, like Dr. E said, just go back to a time that you were in that peak performance. And let yourself just be in that experience again. Feel it. Let every cell in your body feel it. What were your surroundings at that moment? What were the thoughts going through your head? What were the emotions? Just embrace that feeling in your body and let it grow bigger and bigger just from the inside out. Let yourself feel that experience all over again. And then as you're feeling it, just take the thumb of one hand and press it into the palm of your other hand and just anchor all of those good feelings and good vibrations. When you're ready, just open your eyes, come back. So that's just a technique I've learned to anchor, to embody, a good experience. Now, when we're having a stressful day, try it. You can press your palm and it'll take you right back a lot quicker because you've put it in your body. I love too what you said about grounding, putting your bare feet on the earth. I did that in the cold New England winter air yesterday morning, and my neighbors probably thought I was nuts, but I didn't care. And I drank my coffee with my feet on the ground, and I don't know, it's amazing. If you guys want to look up grounding and earthing, it's so good. Dr. E, so much good stuff here. The other thing I love is just the accountability piece, right? So you have a habit of calling your friend to keep you in the habit of walking on the earth. So stacking all those things and connecting them in a way that makes it easy for us to actually do them is what's key. And when we have that internal work that we're doing around forgiveness and getting out those yucky emotions, then it makes it easier to do the habits, right? To eat well and get the sleep. So I love all of that. You've mentioned radiant aging a couple times. Can you tell us what that is? Is that the same as anti-aging?
Yes and no. The modalities under that umbrella are probably the same. I just came across the work of Ram Dass in the realm of what he calls radiant aging. And it is the mindset about aging. We are resisting and fighting so much in the world that when we stop, again, what's the gift in aging? As I've gotten older, I have more to share. I have more wisdom. I don't give an F about all the things that used to bother me, right? It's such a peace of mind inside. I feel more competent, more confident, more experienced, right? So that's the gift of getting older. So for me, I used to teach on anti-aging in different modalities, Chinese acupuncture, cosmetic acupuncture, microneedling, things like that. I put it under the umbrella of radiant aging, meaning as you age gracefully and with as much radiance and life in you as possible that's like just shining out of you. And so we don't fight the process. Like, speaking of New England, one of my favorite things of New England is the turning of the leaves. The fall is so gorgeous in New England, right? The leaves turn that beautiful golden brown and red and all the different colors, and it's so gorgeous. And so people will often go and take long roads just to enjoy and soak in that beauty. Well, as we age, we become like that. We become that wise, that's how beautiful people become as they get older in the gifts that they have to share. The other thing about that is, so don't fight it. There's no reason to fight aging. We embrace it. We say this is great and we can age gracefully. And if you compare the leaves on the tree to the leaves on the ground, the leaves on the ground are no longer connected to source. They're on the ground. They don't look as pretty, right? Half of them are run over on the side of the street. But the ones that stay connected to the source, the tree, they are the ones that are radiating. So I encourage everybody, whatever your source is, God, the universe, I don't know, ancient civilizations, your higher self, your ancestors, tap into that. None of us are here to do it all alone. None of us have the capacity to do it all alone. But through the higher beings that are, through God, and by staying connected to that, we can live our best lives. It's like when you were talking in that meditation about imagine a time when you were at your best, living optimally. Like, what thoughts came into your mind? And you know what? For me, there were no thoughts. I was a pure vessel and channel for the divine. That is the most amazing feeling. And when you tap into your calling, your purpose in life, you come up with things that you didn't even know you could come up with. You become like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where that came from. Well, it came from source. Source saw you as a vessel that was open and ready for it and dropped things into your brain, and then you were able to express them. So it came through you, and that's the most amazing feeling, right? So stay connected to source. So I call that radiant aging, longevity, whatever it is. It's for me a way of helping people go into those later years, if you will, or into the aging process, not fighting it. Because fighting creates a resistance, and fighting is a lower frequency. Check out the work of David Hawkins and his frequency scale. When you led us through that meditation just now, I felt pure joy in my being. And joy is one of the highest frequencies. The more we can tap into that, the better our lives will be. Plain and simple. So I love that you did that, because I feel really good. You just put another flow state activities on my stack. I feel great. It was awesome.
I'm so glad. That's awesome. And I love the sign on your wall back there, that we have gifts and our mission is to share them with the world. And you're absolutely doing that. Every time I've encountered you, Dr. East, I just want to be more like you, more like me in the way that, we're each uniquely ourselves, but you have amazing energy and gifts that you've offered us here today. So thank you so much. Where can people go to learn more about you and your work?
Simple, dreast.com, DOCTOR East.com. And right now that platform is really helping people live their best life. Mind, body, spirit, success. So you're going to see a lot of coaching on there for practitioners. I help a lot of practitioners of alternative and natural medicine be more successful, more effective in their practices, make more money themselves, and have a bigger impact on others. I am right now, as we speak, building out 2 more platforms, which I'm so excited about. One is natural tools for nurses. So I'm supporting nurses and giving them these powerful tools like the ones we talked about today, so they can share them with the many patients out in the world. And then Ultimate Practice Playbook is another one that's, again, anybody in this realm of helping other people, life coaches, marriage and family counselors, acupuncturists, chiropractors, naturopaths. I have a platform where I can help you with the business side of things, because many of these people, like any kind of healing modality, they're really good at healing, and the business part is something that brings their frequency down. So I'm committed to alleviating that, making the business side of their lives super easy so they can do what they're meant to do and share their gifts with the world, which is heal, which is love, which is hold space. And so yeah, Ultimate Practice Playbook is being developed right now, dreast.com, and then naturaltoolsfornurses.com.
Awesome.
Those are the 3 ways right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was such
I feel like I want to say one more thing.
Yes.
Every year in the late summer, I hold a live event in San Diego called Recharge. And it's a 3-day event. You can come for 2 or 3 days, and it's an experiential event. I've called it Healing for Healers. Last year's Recharge was phenomenal. We had like past life regression with QHHT, which is Dolores Cannon's work. We had meditation, we had healing bowls, we had all sorts of things. So you can check it out on my website. This year is going to be even better. Every year it gets better and better. So I invite anybody that wants to come and experience some of these modalities. I'm one of the speakers, but I bring in my favorite healers to come in and heal those of us that are out there healing others and holding space for others, like you do, Sarah, who holds a space for you. Well, I do. And at this event, I would love for you to come join us. Recharge 2023, San Diego, the last weekend of August. And it's the registration is going to open up by March 1st for that event. I'd love to see you there. It's super amazing.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to check my calendar as soon as we finish.
Okay. Fly on out. Come and see us.
Thank you. And I love San Diego. Oh,
okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. East. This was a joy.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.